It's hard to believe that it's already been a year since we launched The Pulse on Fox 29 and Fox Soul. Now, I'm Bill Anderson, and in that last year, we've had some amazing, inspiring interviews with newsmakers and celebrities who are using their voice for good, inspiring people and making a difference. So on this one-year anniversary, we decided to take a look back at some of our favorite segments and guests. Now, The Pulse was always meant to go deeper than just the headlines, the gossip, and the tabloids. And I feel like we've done that with several of our stories, including the two that we start with, some of our most viewed and streamed stories featuring Winona Judd and two members of the legendary Jackson 5. They share with us some of their inspiring stories about their background, their challenges, their struggles, their family, all things you're not used to seeing. You and your family have been very open as it relates to, you're now speaking out on mental health challenges. It obviously is very public, what happened with your mother. Why so open sharing these challenges of mental health, the battles that to some extent that your family continues to deal with on a daily basis?
That is a great question. I don't know that I know the answer to it. I can just tell you what I'm experiencing, and that is that I tell people every day, it's a disease. It's not my mother's heart. And there's a difference. It's a disease. It's a D-I-S, ease, E-A-S-E. And she died she was as determined to live as she was to die. And people don't understand that unless they've gone through it. So the people that have gone through it, they don't feel so alone. And they can tell me their story, I tell them my story, and all of a sudden we're just bonded in some kind of, it's deeper than show business, let's put it that way. Okay. And the ones who don't understand, you let them go and you say, you know what, whomever I can help, let it be a blessing to them and help them through something, because I'm not the only person. I'm not a victim. I am a victor through my music, and I have crap that goes on in my personal life, and we deal with it and we move forward.
How long did it take you to get to that point? And I have to tell you, in looking at some of your comments and interviews and some of the things that you and your family have had to deal with, I don't know that I'm that strong. So when did you get to the point?
I don't know that I'm strong. I'm willing. I'm willing to show up in whatever shape I'm in. I just did an interview where I cried the majority of the interview because he kept talking about my mom. And I just had a tender heart at the moment. And I let it fly because I thought, people need to know that this is not, okay, let's get real. Social media, you don't know what's real, right? You don't know what's real. And I am determined to help the stigma dissipate. I think people look at my mom and they think, oh my God, she was crazy, or they say whatever cliche they say. She's more than a cliche. She's my mom. And I tell people my story because I want them to know that I'm a human being, not just a human doing. And I think when I tell my story, other people go, I get you, girl. I know what you're going through. My mom and my dad, they just got divorced, or my mom, committed suicide, or I have a daughter or a sister or brother and a dad. I have all the stories in my vocabulary today. And I can tell you this, we all feel helpless because it's as mysterious as the ocean is deep. Mental illness, I don't like that term. It's a disease, and she was not her disease.
Up next, two members of one of the most legendary families in music history, Marlon and Tito Jackson of the Jackson 5. I can see it between you two. Obviously, I just, met you as we got started. But it sounds like you guys, and again, this is one of those things, Tito, you touched on, the public generally doesn't know. Are you guys close? Were you close, or when are you one of those kind of those stage families that comes together to perform, but behind the scenes, not so much?
No, we're very close, and we have children that play together, and we visit each other. We have our Jackson Family Day and our gatherings, and we make sure that we keep all that going. And as you know, my mother's up in senior age, so we make sure that she still enjoy her family and gets to see it. So we have to stay together.
Well, I'm gonna put it real simple. If you want to know how close we are, try messing with one of us.
Okay. Okay.
And I'll leave it like that.
We're a lot a lot closer than some of the media try to make it seem like. And if they hear a negative story, they run with it. Boy, do they run with it. And it may not even be close to true, you know. So we have to weed through all that and continue down the journey.
You know, Marlon, you said you want to find out how close you guys are, mess with one of us. But at the same time, people have. You know, people have said things, people have put things out there. Was it ever hard through that process? Because you can't fight every battle. You know, so you're watching things being said that may not necessarily be true, but they're still being said.
You learn to deal with it, and you learn how to navigate around it. But in your heart, you know what's true and what's not true, and the Lord knows what's true and what's not true. And to me, that's the most important thing of all.
10, 13 years, FBI investigating my brother, didn't find anything. You didn't know that then Tom Steadden comes later and try to make something up. You know, it's crazy, you know. So, and he was, he won all the cases, every one of them. And you still would get people behind that, still try to make things true. So we're going to keep on doing.
You know, the bottom line is that it's all about the money. It's all about your bottom line, and they know controversy sells, even if it's true or not true. Is that once they reach those numbers, then they fade away from it.
Brother Michael was doing things that was unheard of, you know, in show business, especially for young Black men, and a lot of people didn't understand it. So when you don't understand things, the next thing you do is try to hurt it, you know.
Next up on The Pulse after the break, we're joined by DJ Jazzy Jeff and comedian and actor Jay Moore. Now, legendary DJ Jazzy Jeff and actor and comedian Jay Moore have both experienced the ups and downs of the entertainment industry. But they shared with us when they came on The Pulse that the things that really keep them going are the support of friends and family, both given and received. I'm not going backwards talking about things with Will and things that you may have experienced. The question I do have, though, is that that's your real friend.
100%.
So when that's your real friend and the world's talking about them, and most of the time the world doesn't know that person, they know what they saw. How, like, that's got to be a hard thing to handle, or is that just, you know, like with anybody's real friend?
I don't know anyone who has walked a straighter line than him. And when the incident happened, you know, I was one of the first people to reach out to him. And it was just kind of like, you're human. I think everybody in the world has done stuff that they regret. It's just a little bit unfortunate when it's done in the public's eyesight. You know, I was one of those people that I was kind of like, I think, you know, every Black family has a Bobby Brown and a Whitney Houston in the family. That was not unusual for us to see. It was unusual for the world to see. But that's most people's aunt and uncle.
And back in the day, you let them go around the corner and they handled it.
That's it.
The difference was
Yes.
like, only the people who were at the party know that they handled it. And you're like, man, let them go outside and handle their difference.
And this was in front of the world.
Yeah.
And that was the difference. This wasn't something that was shocking. Oh my God. This is kind of like, you know, we always fight with our brothers, you know, and, you know, Will and Chris have been tight for a long time. We always fight with our brothers.
And now let's hear from comedian Jay Moore. Altamont, you said, was pretty good, right? But it was in the middle of dealing with addiction, and you know, you remember some of it and not all of it. What's great now?
Well, there was always a barrier, Bill, because I always wanted to know what was going to happen once I got off stage. I always wanted to know, like, where the girls were. I always wanted to know where, if I was going to re-up on pills, where am I going to go after this? Where's the party after this? And I'm a free man today. All I have is now. Like this, right now, everything's great. You know what I learned, man? I learned in recovery how many people have been rooting for me for so long. And you know, when you're using drugs or drinking, you just have this pour me another drink. And then you get well. Like we were supposed to do this earlier, and I said, oh, I didn't know it was going to take this long. I actually got a meeting. It's part of my morning routine.
So put it wherever you're comfortable propping it up so you can get comfortable.
What do you mean for this long? How long is this?
It's supposed to be like 25 minutes, 30 minutes. You're an interesting dude.
I didn't know that. I'm missing an AA meeting.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Do you want to do it another time? Like we can do it a later time.
Can we do it in an hour? I could do it in an hour.
It's all right with me. Yeah, we don't want you to not do that. So let's do it again at noon.
And your producers were like, no, that's great. We all want you well. We've been following this. You've been outspoken about your recovery. And that really meant a lot to me, because the more I'm sober, the more I learn that people have been rooting for me this whole time. When I'm on stage, I'm so happy to be there. I was in rehab 18 months ago. They took my phone from me. They took the laces out of my sneakers and out of my sweatpants. They locked the refrigerators after 8 p.m. I had a bedtime. I was 50 years old. That is the worst. And let me tell you something. The only thing worse than being the old guy at the club is being the old guy in rehab. Yikes.
Why so open? Why do you feel like you need to be sharing that information?
The cool answer would be the 12th step is we carry this message to other alcoholics. It's part of my responsibility as a member of a 12-step group. But the real answer is it's a survival mechanism. I've really done some thinking about this in my meditations and stuff, and it's the more transparent I am, the more people I put between me and my garbage, the harder it is for me to get back to my garbage. So the more open I am, the more when I see Bill Anderson, when I'm rolling through Philly and I see you, and if I got a weird walk and I'm talking funny, you're going to go, uh-oh.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's like a survival mechanism where I put as many people between me and my BS that it's really hard for me to reach it.
I think that makes everybody more real. Like yeah, I saw you in Jerry Maguire, but you're a guy who's talking to me who faces the same challenges we all do.
Look, I lost. I was 50 years old. I walked into my own intervention. That's a loss. And now I get to win every day.
After the break, the host of one of the hottest shows on TV, talk show host and comedian Shepard. Now, this same year that we launched The Pulse, The Sherry Show, featuring Shepard, launched on Fox and has been a huge success. So it was really cool to sit down with Sherry and share some of the behind the scenes of what really goes into launching a show and trying to share your own voice.
Oprah was just, I don't know. I reached out to her and she got back to me. And I've said this, I took 15 pages of notes. And because everything she was dropping was such nuggets. And she said to me, and I got to talk like her because you can't do Oprah without speaking like her. And she said, Sherry, having a talk show is very sacred and hallowed ground. Okay. And she said, it is a responsibility. You are responsible for the energy that is on your show. You are responsible for everyone that comes on your show. That is your name. And I'm just like, okay, well, damn, Oprah, I just was gonna play some viral videos.
I know you got serious.
Yeah, now you done got it's sacred. Oh my goodness! But I understand that because you have this platform and you're putting some things out. So yeah, it's a blessing. I don't look at it as a curse. I look at it as it's a responsibility. It's on me. No matter what anybody does, it's on me. So if it's on me, then I'm going to do it the way I want to do it, the way I envision doing it, because then I could say I gave it everything I had. I got my first pilot of a talk show back in 2004. I remember I did everything that they wanted me to do, and it didn't get picked up. Back then, I wasn't ready for that.
Yes.
And I heard when I was in church, a pastor say, sometimes God doesn't give you your dream because you won't have enough faith to sustain it when something goes wrong. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you have to mature into your dream?
So I don't know Oprah, but Iyanla, you know Iyanla Van Zandt.
Oh, is that what you call her? You call her Iyanla?
So Iyanla actually was a family
Yes.
friend. My father gave Iyanla her first job in
Love
radio.
Iyanla.
Like back when she was Iyanla, what is she talking about? Fix somebody's life.
Doing
AM radio
yeah.
back in the day. And I had a conversation with Iyanla when I was doing this. And she said something similar. She said she got a show back in the day when she wasn't ready for it. And it was their vision, not hers.
I think that was with Barbara Walters.
Yeah.
Yeah, Barbara Walters and Bill Getty, yeah.
And she appreciated the opportunity, and she said that she enjoyed it, but it was a very similar story.
Yes.
And she said it was kind of her name on someone else's
Absolutely.
vision. And that was her advice to me. Don't do something unless you're like 80% comfortable with the fact that it's representing you.
I talked to Steve Harvey's former manager, Rashawn, and I remember he said, the first question he asked me, I said, I got the talk show, I'm so excited. He said, who are you? And I said, who am I? I'm Sherry. He goes, no, who are you? And I said, I am a single mother, I'm divorced, I am a woman of faith, and I went down the list. And he said, that is your audience. Single mothers, divorced people, people who want to be inspired. And he said, you cannot do a talk show unless you know who you are and unless you know who you're speaking to. Because that's when you have people going, oh, what is that corny? And he said, because if it doesn't feel good to you inside, then it will never register with your audience. So when you bring me an idea that does not match who I am and who I'm speaking to, then I go, no, that doesn't work for me.
We're still not done looking back. So coming up next, more guests are sounding off on the pulse. So we've had more than 40 guests in the first year and many more to come. There's no way that we could show them all, but here's a little taste of what we've had in the last year and what we hope to have much more of in the year to come.
What up, y'all? This is your girl, Vivica A. Fox, and you are watching The Pulse with a very handsome Bill Anderson.
Welcome to The Pulse with Bill Anderson.
Now, you got to sign a release that says they can't just make that the new voice of the show. You know that, right?
We're gonna have some fun.
Get ready for spicy.
What happened with Diana Ross?
You heard about that?
Everyone wants everybody to know what they think about everything, and we hate each other because we disagree on it.
When my mom and dad would argue, I'd go to my room. That's what I want to do. I'm going to my room.
We're gonna talk about serious things.
I don't mind the title of a successful black woman because that's what I am. I am a representation of our community.
All the things that they told me a no to, I just made it a yes. We're all just trying to figure out this thing called life, because in the moment you're like, this is crazy.
Women, when we get this age, we're told that we're not important anymore. We're told that we're no longer sexy. We're too old for the workforce. We're told so many no's. So do I know how important this is, what I'm doing? Absolutely.
We're gonna dig deep. Going through that, you viewed life differently.
You're taking these skills that you learn from fighting. There's just a resilience.
All through your career, you're too small to do this, is what they were telling you.
Don't allow someone else to dictate to you what you can achieve.
Something can be very, very difficult. Whether you quit is completely up to you.
We're gonna sit down and just talk.
Social media in some ways makes you think that you're not as accomplished. A lot of that is very fake.
I feel like I should thank you for men.
Hey.
You did all the smooth kind of talk and everything, so we didn't have to.
We're taught as men not to speak certain things like it's a sign of weakness. It's not.
Basketball's been tremendous for me. My cup runneth over.
When you have more time, people are more willing to share things.
Was there an aha moment for you?
Inspiration comes from within as much as it comes from without.
For me, it's hard to pretend to be something that I'm not.
Do you feel like you've reached your success?
Oh, no, absolutely not. Because people are still suffering.
8.5 million followers. What's that even like?
It was really actually overwhelming and hard to process.
There are a lot of people that feel like I should just be grateful I got invited to the party. Right is right and wrong is wrong. I don't give a damn what the package looks like.
I'm always curious when I talk to people about diversity in Hollywood. Is Is that an honor or a burden?
There's a responsibility as an Indigenous actor to represent your community, not just on camera, but in your daily life.
How are you using your voice for good?
Run DMC was the game changer. Ice-T and people like that said, yo, man, these guys make positivity gangster.
Do you sit back and understand the significance of the diversity that you helped create?
I feel like it just helps people feel seen.
I try to share my story so these young kids in the inner cities of America can learn from my story and don't live my story. You can save somebody's life.
He said, you guys don't know what your music did for me. Black kids and white kids who being integrated to the same school. The teacher asked us to write about our favorite group. Everybody wrote about the Jackson 5, but we had something in common. That changed everything.
If you want to hear the whole interview, you can get it any place where podcasts are available. Subscribe so you get the notification each week. All past episodes are also available on YouTube. Reach out to me at Bill A. Fox 29. I'd love to hear from you.
What a great tribute to your dad, Cody Anderson, of course, radio legend here in Philadelphia.
It's going to be fun. You are officially friend of the show. So whenever you're in town, you're going to come stop in?
Absolutely. I just have a respect for everybody who works here. You do things well here.
You got a home at the Pulse.
Listen, this is my home.
It's only right that I'm on the Pulse because I've been a pulse of the city.
There ain't nothing else for me to say.
Thank you so much for watching this 1-year anniversary episode of The Pulse. We didn't want to do another gossip or tabloid show, and your support for the show thus far shows that you're on board with the concept of using your voice and platform for good, and we sincerely appreciate you. And make sure you tune in next week as we get back to our normal format with the hilarious comedian and actor Michael Blackson.
Summer of '89, I came to Philly. And pretty much Philly became home. My second joke was when I first came from Africa, all my friends tried to make me feel at home. So they didn't feed me for a month. So I got a lot of backlash from my village. But they said, you know what, Mike, just get the money and bring it here.
You actually did. We're going to talk about that. Thank you. We appreciate you. And I leave you, as I always do, reminding you, whenever you can, use your voice for good, and have a good one.